Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time On Target Morning Brief. We invest with fighter power precision on a daily basis. What an ugly day yesterday, down well over 1%, kind of continuing the negative theme from the prior week, even though Friday was, Friday up big in the green. We started off the week pretty bad, and we'll see today. So far, we've recovered quite a bit in the futures in the morning, overnight, but we'll see if it holds today. I think today will be a telling day. If today holds, I think we're fine. If it does not hold, then I do think we continue down probably 2, 3, 4, 5 more percent, probably into a correction if today doesn't hold. And I'll show you why I think so on the chart here in a second. All right, as far as what our topic is today, we haven't talked about a SPAC in a while. If you remember, a SPAC is a special purpose acquisition company. It's the blank check company is kind of the vernacular that's used for it. It's basically when a company stands up as a shell company, if you will, raises a bunch of money and then looks for a company to buy. And then instead of doing a traditional IPO, simply buys a company and then switches the ticker to the new company's name. And then that's the IPO process. So far more, a lot cheaper than a traditional IPO and pretty slick. And it's a good way to make a decent amount of money. These things kind of ran rampant back in I think it was 2019 phase when you had like DraftKings came out of a SPAC and GNOG, Golden Nugget Online Gaming, was also a SPAC prior to it becoming that ticker symbol. So some of these went up, DraftKings went 400 or 500% as soon as things were released. So it's one of those things where, a whole bunch of them stood up. So it went from, a few of them making a lot of money to a whole bunch of them standing up until now where a lot of it's kind of died off. So now there's only a few opportunities out there, but I do like one. Kramer talked about it last week. It's called Solid Power. It's a SPAC so Solid Power is the company that's going to exist with the new ticker symbol, which I don't even know what that'll be. But the current SPAC is DCRC, if you want to take a look at it, and that's what we'll be talking about today. Don't know when, don't know the time frame of it, but it's going to happen. We waited forever for DraftKings and rewarded handsomely for doing so. So I don't mind buying into these things and waiting, but you don't have any perfect crystal balls as far as when you can buy it today, make your money, and then be out by next Tuesday. It's not quite that easy, right? So that's what we're going to talk about today for our topic. For our question is, what's a 1099-B? We're going to take a look at all the things that are on your 1099-B, which is your brokerage 1099. It has all kinds of information on there. So we'll talk about that. For the day trading stuff, the futures are up big. So longs look a little better than shorts. Have 3 of them there for you listed in the chat. NAPA, NAPA, BE, which is Bloom Energy, and then OCGN is that one's a little sketchy, but we will see Napa's up big on earnings and BE's big on the upgrade. OCGN is just a headline. And as far as the short side, SNDX is probably my favorite, even though it's low volume. The CFO resigned last night. So generally when CFOs resign, there could be personal issues with the CFO. I mean, you don't know that, but if it's not, it could be a sign that the company is in a situation where the CFO doesn't want to stick around and answer all the questions, right? So we'll take a look at that to the short side. And then RIDE, which is Lordstown Motors, got a pretty big downgrade. So they're they're at 534 right now, and they're being, the anticipated that they're downgrade all the way to $5. So when things are that low as far as a price point, that's a pretty significant downgrade. And of course, if it falls below $5, a lot of the mutual funds can't hold it. So once it cracks that 5 level, things tend to fall off. So we'll look to capitalize on that storyline this morning. All right. If you're catching us on a replay, thanks for checking us out. Make sure you subscribe with the notifications bell. If you want to join us live in the room, it's $25 a month. You can ask me anything you want in the chat window and the Q&A window, which you don't see. And with that, get my video up here. Let's get started. All right, need to get another thing pulled up here this morning. Why is that not working? We'll go over to that chart for just a second to get rid of this. That did not work. All right, so there's TDA. Well, I get one more thing set up here. for our lineup card for the day. There we go. Switching over to that. All right, here's the lineup card for today, Tuesday, October 5th. Again, Bloody Monday yesterday. We'll see how Tuesday turns out. This is standard disclaimer applies. This is an educational presentation. You have to do your own due diligence for acting on anything you hear in the show, especially when we're talking about something as speculative as a SPAC IPO, if you will. So about as speculative as it gets. Full disclaimer information is available at ototnow.com. All right. Mission objectives is grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. Today, we're talking about the DCRC SPAC, which is going to turn into the Solid Power, which is a battery company that makes companies not only for electric vehicles, but also makes company for batteries for handheld devices. So kind of all over the spectrum there. So that's what we're going to take a look at. We have to go to Yahoo for that chart. You can't even do it on FinViz. So that's why we going to look a little differently this morning. Question today, again, 1099B. We'll take a look at what Investopedia says about that. And again, how to import that. There's another thing I'm going to talk about for TurboTax and H&R Block. They make it really easy for you to import. You know, if you do a lot of trading, you can have 30, 40, 50 pages of your 1099B and you just simply import it. Which is pretty nice. All right, flow for today, we long, short, open, short, long. We'll do the market review. We'll look at DCRC, and then we'll get into day trading stuff. Contingencies and academic resources are standard. All right, over to TD Ameritrade. Let's look real quick about where we've been. So here's what I'm talking about is, you know, we had the big down day Thursday, up day Friday, down day today. If we don't hold here, if we dip down to that 420 range, technically that means we will have broken this channel and we'll see a fall down to that 400 range. So again, that would be a correction. Corrections are normal. We know there's several headwinds here in the fourth quarter. So nothing to really freak out about other than, you know, I am increasing exposure to fixed income. I'm increasing exposure to alternatives, and I'm increasing exposure to cryptocurrencies if you're up for that kind of risk. I think those things are positioned well for the fourth quarter, where I think the market is not. I think this could be a tough quarter, and then, you know, wait for this quarter to digest, and then on into the new year of 2022, have a lot higher expectations. Again, here's what we've been looking at is the down Thursday, up Friday, down Monday. So kind of some congestion there. We'll see. Here's going into today, and then there's the chart for this morning that we're going to use for our day trading here in a second. All right, over to TD Ameritrade, over to CNBC. Let's go ahead and take a look at these futures I keep talking about. There we go. Refresh them real quick for you. So you see the Dow's in the green, S&P in the green, and about a third of a point all the way across. Now, NASDAQ got hit hard yesterday. Facebook drug a lot of other companies down. So there's a lot of contagion with that. So we'll see if Facebook continues to sell off. I don't think it will. I think it sold off hard enough yesterday where the floor is in. But certainly ethically, if you want to be out of Facebook, you just let me know and we're out. I did move some folks out of the name yesterday, and I currently don't hold any myself. So consider. All right, around the world, we've got EU in the green across the board. We've got Japan down big, other two in green there. Bonds above 1.5 for the 10-year. So again, creeping higher there. Oil approaching that 80 point that everyone keeps talking about. Gold and silver selling off, and then crypto bouncing. You look at Bitcoin. Again, Bitcoin was below 40,000 a couple of weeks ago. So that's like a 25% move. Ethereum, same thing, sold off hard. It's been screaming higher. Some people are calling Ethereum 5,000 by the end of the year. I don't know about that. All right, don't have time for the headlines today, but let's take a look at this DCRC SPAC. Again, super speculative. Special purpose acquisition company. It's got a deal. It's been announced. It's going to become Solid Power at some point. That's no guarantee that the market screams higher, but you certainly think of investable themes out there. And I don't know, a battery maker in today's day and age that makes everything from electric vehicle batteries to handheld device batteries. That's a pretty good place to have some money. So I would say if you were going to move into something like this, take 1% of your portfolio max. So, if you have a $100,000 portfolio, you wouldn't want to go over $1,000 into something like this. There's a big chance that it doesn't work out, but it also has got that, asymmetric upside. that you're looking for. SPACs generally are born at around $10 a share. That's just kind of a price target they throw on them. And again, you can see that's, there was a lot of talk back here of what's going on, got up to 12, kind of settled back into 10. So if you buy into this, you don't know when it's going to happen, but it is announced that it is going to happen. So it's already starting to move back higher here. So again, you're not going to get any information because there's nothing there. It's a blank check company. So, all right, let's move over to TD Ameritrade and get set up before the open. All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time, On Target play of the day. We have 10 seconds to the market open on today, Tuesday, October 5th. Again, big sell-off yesterday. Futures are bouncing in the green yesterday. Looking long in Napa. Here's our opening bell. Napa's a long on earnings. You can see it there. So up here at the 25 range, gapping up 6%. You have SNDX is low volume. But the CFO resigned. You don't know anything behind that other than the CFO resigned. That may be tough volume-wise to get in. And then RIDE, which is Lordstown Motors, got a double downgrade to calling for it to fall below $5. So that's what we've got this morning. Zooming in here on Napa. Again, not a lot of volume in Napa, so that could be tricky. Same thing in SNDX, but you do have the volume over here in. Trying to zoom in on SNDX, it's not even having it. You do have the volume here in RIDE. The entry point's going to be the tough part. So it opened at 542. You're looking at about a 5-cent stop. So again, you'd want to get into it around 539. It just looks like if it's going to fall off the cliff here, you're not going to get that entry. So looking at Napa long though, off of those earnings, that's actually SNDX just doesn't have enough volume. So let's look at another one of the longs. Bloom Energy is an upgrade. So again, looking at long short here. All right, 2370, 24 and 95. It's tough for the math to work in, and they just don't have the volume in this Napa. All right, let's take Lordstown short. It's going to be a little bit of an aggressive entry. So 6 cents, gosh, we're at it right now. Just not setting up for the math. Math is much better in Napa long. You just don't have the volume. Yeah, there's no way you can cover the high of the day in this RIDE. So let's continue to look around. All right, check back on SNDX short. Say 20 cents stop, IP at 18. Can't get in it there. The math doesn't work. Let's look at OCGN long. A lot of risk in Ocugen. Do have the volume though. 715, 722. Again, just not getting the entry there. All right, RIDE worked if you took it up there, but you didn't have a pure entry. You were throwing a dart if you took it. All right, and nothing else to look at. Going back to RIDE or SNDX short, see if there's any volume yet. Just not enough volume to be able to participate in this. So. All right, no trades this morning, so we'll get out of day trading mode. Sorry we didn't get an entry. Let's take a look at what's going on in the bigger picture. Cybin up 3%. Again, looking to the left-hand side here. Palantir up nicely. Upload, Revive Therapeutics, Trade Desk, Ethereum. We talked about. I like MSTR. It'll be up here somewhere. There's MSTR. CRPT is the Crypto ETF, I don't see it on our list here, but it should be bounced around. KWeb getting some love. There's DraftKings we talked about earlier, bouncing around in the green. There we go. Finally got it. Energy, JP Morgan, bought some JP Morgan yesterday. Don't like the energy space. DXC is a consulting firm that's been hit kind of hard. So I want to actually look at that chart real quick. DXC. You back out again. These folks left Arthur Andersen a while ago. So look at this chart. It was super hot for a while. So kind of ran up from, what is this, 24 over here. They've been crushing earnings all along. 24 up to 44. Been kind of selling off. So kind of an entry point here on DXC if you're interested. May throw some folks into that. Again, consulting firms tend to do just fine in a challenged environment. So fourth quarter is challenging. Again, a lot of companies will pay consultants to come in and help them through it. All right, what's on the downside here? Click the wrong one. There you go. There's the downside. Roblox selling off. We haven't really talked about Roblox in a while, so let's take a look at the chart. Been a little ugly, back down to 75 after being over 100. So again, that's 30, what's that, 25% sell off there. Some spec names up in here, gold and silver selling off. Again, overall, about 20 names. There's CRPT, it's even. Let's take a look at that chart. It hadn't been around that long. So there's your history. It started at $19. It's been, just below that right now. My entry point on it was I got in here at 1950 after it did this big drop from 23. So again, I'm not back to where I entered personally or for a lot of my clients, but again, like the long-term theme, and it's getting more volume along the way. It's still pretty low volume kind of investment. So more people are discovering it. And, once it gets fully discovered and big money moves in, if you will, that's when you're going to see that move higher. All right. There we go. Switch back to the green. Look back to the trading chart real quick. Ride SNDX and nap along. So again, kind of tough, but market stabilized in the green for the first few minutes of the day. So that is good. All right, let's come back to Google Chrome here real quick. We'll talk about that 1099B. All right. So if you, at the end of the year, the brokerage, through your TDA or Schwab, whoever your brokerage account, or Fidelity, Vanguard, your 401k, somebody will send you this form. You can get it electronically or through the mail. I think a lot of them have to still send it to you through the mail. But if you make any moves in your, if you've been with me, I don't make a tremendous number of moves throughout the year, but they do add up. And you get into a couple trades a month, just kind of trimming things and tweaking portfolios. And you can end up with 5, 6, 7, 40 pages of a 1099B kind of quick. Same thing with fixed income. If it's paying you out on a monthly basis, every month you get an entry into the 1099B. So again, that can inflate that form to be pretty significant and kind of intimidating, if you will. So the good news is if you're a do-it-yourselfer, then what you end up with is in TurboTax, you simply put in the letter identifier and you do some form of authentication with that, and it imports everything into TurboTax for you. Now, the downside of importing everything is you probably, you may or may not fully understand the math that's going into the calculation of your taxes if you care. Some people don't, and that's okay. I do, because I need to be able to explain, capital gains taxes and things. So I end up chasing it all the way through. But it does import nicely. If you put in this in by hand, it will take you hours is what it would take you. And then you have, of course, the chance of there being a fat finger error in there. That's not a commentary on the size of your fingers, just a term from, mistyping things in, right? So if you give it to your CPA, same sort of thing, they'll just import it electronically and go from there. So what is on here is you have interest and dividends are both on there. All of your capital gains and losses, which end up going onto the Schedule D, is in here. It knows which ones are short gains, which ones are long-term gains, which one don't have the required cost basis, then you have to manually enter it, but it identifies that for you. In TurboTax, it'll come up as an error, right? Because it'll say, hey, there's no cost basis here, so then you have to provide it. I kind of chuckle at this 1099B because this is the literally a one trade 1099B. That's nothing what it really looks like when you have a whole bunch of them. And again, all these go into the Schedule D, gains and losses for the year. And it's also, if you have capital loss carryover, that sort of thing, all of that is calculated for you on the Schedule D. So, all right, that's enough on the 1099B for one day. It looks like the market's starting to sell off a little bit. So we'll see if it holds red here, or see if it's holding green, excuse me. If it doesn't hold green, watch out below. I think we'll be in for a pretty steady move down lower for the rest of the week if today doesn't hold. So with that, I'll let you go and we'll talk to you soon.